Now then, good people, I thought this afternoon a little bit something different. What I wanted to just do briefly is just to sit down and just have a little talk to you all about the reasons why I'm doing these videos, what's brought me to doing this. It's got to be said. It goes, I suppose, way back to my childhood. As I've said in a previous video, I lost one of my grandfathers up in Scotland. He was a Bevan boy and was killed in a coal crushing machine. My nana remarried, and the man who then became my step granddad, I had an awesome relationship with. He was a political man. He was a socialist, and he was a socialist pretty much for the same reasons as why, I feel like I've followed in his footsteps. He was born into a working class family. They didn't have a lot of money. To get any money at all, he had to work as a small boy in the brickyards and quarries in a village not far from here. It was a real struggle for him. The reason he was working in those places as a boy was he was denied an education, because back in the day, for poor families and those less well off, there wasn't anything such education, and he was denied it. But what he did do, every penny he earned in the brickyards and the quarries, he saved. He paid for tuition off a teacher to give personal tuition to teach him to read. And then every penny he earned, he bought books on all manner of subjects. Thousands of books he had, and he was self-taught. When he was 16 and 17, he got a job with what was or became the YEB, as it was at the time, and he worked for them, worked his way up, and he worked on pylons, erecting electric cables and power cables of cables. At one point he had a situation where the harness he was given broke while he was at the top, and he fell from the top of a pylon and smashed all his hips to bits. Had to have new hips, which was given to him by the NHS. Saved his life. He saved his life as well because he was a very fit person as well. He was into his sport, really big into cycling, cricket and football, so he was very fit. I think the doctors had said to him at the time, had he not been fit, he would probably have died in the accident. But anyway, the good thing was he survived and went on. Eventually, he created a new harness for the job, which was taken on. He never got any recognition from it. I don't know if they still use that harness to the day, I don't know. But he never really got any recognition for that. But anyway, I followed in his footsteps. He used to sit and talk to me about politics, and even as a kid I found it interesting, and of course then at age 14 and 15 I was going out canvassing for the Labour Party and going door to door. I had never hesitated. I wasn't frightened to talk on the doorsteps about the things my granddad had taught me about being working class and how to be proud of it. Those years of my childhood were relatively good. I lived in a nice village. It was a great place to grow up. But then in 1979 my parents moved to where we live now, and it meant me changing school of what would be the third year of secondary school at that time, away from my friends and into a new school and a new environment. Which followed was a real dark cloud on my life. I was physically and psychologically bullied for about 2 years really, at that new school. It was horrendous, some of the things that happened. I mean, it was on a daily basis, just, things like from verbal bullying, name calling, to physical beatings, people spitting on your dinner, stealing your dinner money. I had one incident where they thought it was funny to stick a broom shaft through the sleeves of my jumper and hang me on a coat peg in the changing rooms for games, while a load of them all took turns at spitting on me. I was made go into the shower with my clothes on, and this went on for a long time, for years, and it happened to other people in school as well. It wasn't just me it happened to. I wasn't the worst case. There was people got it worse than me, some people not so bad, but there were several people that got bullied. And you often hear people say, oh, well, people should go and tell the teachers. Well, there was a reason that people didn't do that. One of the lads that was bullied, his father came to school and they got the bullies in for some punishment. I don't know what the punishment was, I don't remember. I think it was something like lines or a detention or something along those lines. But the next day they were kicking him round the cloakroom like a football. So the rest of us that have been bullied realise telling your parents or the teacher or anything else wasn't an option. My parents didn't really know what I went through till leaving school, when I opened up and talked about it. I mean, the thing is, as a consequence, the injustice of the bullying and everything, I mean, I didn't realise it at the time. It's only over the last sort of 20 years I've probably realised I've ended up with mental health issues, partly as a consequence of what I went through at school. That was a big part of it. And then often there's one or two other things that have happened to me later in life, some from bad decisions I've made myself. It's got to be said, I've not always done the right thing, but I have been served with some injustices brought on by other people. I mean, Sir Philip Green as an example, I had a BHS pension and I lost a good lump of that pension. I got some of it back, but not all of it that I should have got, as did millions of others that lost out, while he still cruises around the Mediterranean on his 4 yachts. But again, that's another situation. I was ripped off by a solicitor who's now in prison for fraud and for other people that he'd ripped off. He wasn't put in prison for what he did to me. He basically got away with what he did to me, and I've had no recompense. And I've estimated that what he did to me has cost me around £50,000 in total. I chose not to go bankrupt at the time, which was an option because of what he'd done, this solicitor. But I chose to go into financial debt management, and I've still actually got a couple of years, but it's at a very low price that I'm paying now, but that'll be finished in about 2 years. That was a decision, I suppose, based on my pride. In a world where you see so many people at the top, big people that can just go bankrupt 4 or 5 times, and they're still live in big plush properties and have a luxurious lifestyle. I chose not to do that. Some might say I was mad and should have gone bankrupt, but like I say, I am a proud person. And I didn't do that. But moving on to why I'm doing the videos, like I've said, I've been a victim of quite a bit of injustice in my life, it's got to be said, and I've witnessed a lot of other people's injustice, whether it's been bullying, whether it's racism, whether it's been robbed, thieved, victims of crime, but we have millions of victims of the Tories over the last 100 years or more. The working class have always been victims, and there's been so many injustices to people. And I know it's all around the world, it's not just Britain, but I live in Britain, so I can only talk about Britain really. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is, where I'm coming from is the sense of injustice that I've had in my life and witnessed and seen is what makes me do what I'm doing now. I am under mental health counselling, and this is actually one of the things that I was told to sort of try, because I get angry and frustrated with things that are bad and injustices. That anger builds up, and I get to. I can get really angry and I get depressed about it. Then this spills out into all other aspects of life. And I've got to say, I do think now this is actually working. It's one or two other things that I've tried, that I've been by my counsellor, are working. And as we know in the country, mental health's a massive problem. I'm not the worst case scenario. I'm not the best. I'm just a piece in a massive puzzle, really. But what I wanted to do was just explain to people out there why I'm doing what I'm doing. As my counsellor said, it's not. I mean, I come from a family. We're a very political family, and we're a broad spectrum of a family. It's got to be said. I've got conservatives in the family, and we've had so many arguments over the year and fell out and all sulked with each other, etc. But when my mum was dying of cancer 5 years ago, we made a decision before she died, and so as she could witness it, that we were, as a family, we wouldn't fall out anymore about it. So what we do, we avoid the subject now of politics and things, which has made things a lot better in the family. But on a personal role for me, I haven't got anywhere to vent my anger. And when I am very opinionated, it's got to be said. And when I see what's happening around me, I feel the need to air them views. And my counsellor had said to me, it doesn't matter if there's only one person watching or if there's 30,000 people watching. It's a release for me to just set up the phone and talk away to my heart's content, getting stuff off my chest that helps me in here. And I've got to say, I'd like to report to everybody, it's been great. And while I think mental health, you'll never be cured, it's all about managing it, and this is part of my managing of it. And I'm sure there's people out there are probably thinking, oh, he does rant on and rabbit on and repeat himself quite a lot, and I know that, but I just want you to understand maybe as to why I do that. I generally feel like I am a good person. I'm a caring person. I care a lot about the world. That's why I get frustrated, because I want to see a better world. I want to see a world where all people look out for each other. If one person needs something, the other person helps them to achieve or get what they need. We look after each other. We don't let anybody struggle or suffer. And so in that respect, I am a good person. It's not to say that all my life I haven't done everything correct all my life. I was a particularly very well behaved youngster. But as I say, I was brought up in a strict way by my parents. They did everything they could. Again, I had parents that didn't have a lot of money. My dad worked. To be fair, as a kid, my dad always seemed to be at work. It just never seemed any different. But yeah, this is why I'm doing these videos. I just need to get out here and talk to people, get stuff off my chest, and then I go away, and that gets me through another day. But anyway, that's enough. I'm sure you don't want to let me rabbiting on too much, so I'll leave it at that for now. Just a little explanation as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. So please, if you can, subscribe, do a little like if you want, but spread the word and share as much as you can, because it'll be a bit of a bonus if I can get the message that's in here that I want to get across, that comes from here. If I can get that message out to people and hopefully help make a little bit of a difference to people's lives, then it's all good. Anyway, solidarity everybody, and have a nice afternoon. Thank you.